standing here at the corner of 25 and 12. I'm right at the entrance of the massive Colon Cemetery in Havana, in the Vedado district of Havana. It's one of the largest and most ornately decorated cemeteries in the whole world. I speak a lot about it in my guide, and there's also some photos and videos on my website. You can check it out at the link below. One of the things I mention is that to get into this cemetery, it costs 5 CUC. That's equivalent to $5 American. That's the admittance fee. But also there are many ways to get into the cemetery absolutely free. You could just first of all walk in through the front door. It's sometimes there'll be a guard there, but usually not. The guard's just in the back sleeping or eating. So you just walk right in. You don't have to pay that fee. Also, I'm going to show you, there are many other entrances to the cemetery, and you could just walk in. Those are completely unguarded. The average Cuban will not pay anything to enter this cemetery. In fact, the cemetery is so big that most people do not go around it. They just go through it. They just use the various doors located around the walls of the cemetery to just enter and pass through it on their way to work or school or wherever. So it's uncommon for local people to pay the entrance fee. And you can easily get in here as a tourist absolutely free. Now, some people might say that it's sacrilege to try to avoid the admittance fee and to get into the cemetery. It's sacrilege to, not pay the $5. But at the same time, it could be argued that it's sacrilege to actually charge $5 to get into a cemetery, which should be, in most ways a public space. And it shouldn't be really a tourist attraction anyways. It's more of just a way of mourning the dead. Either way, the cemetery is an interesting place to visit. The tombstones are very ornate. There's some amazing architecture in there. If you have a chance to visit it, especially if you plan on going there for free, check it out. If you want to pay the $5 fee, it's not a lot really. You're going to spend a couple of hours in there. It's one of the cheapest things that you could do in Havana. But I'm going to show you right now how to get in for free. Well, I'm on my bike now. I just biked right in through the front door. Nobody said anything. There were about 5 guards there. They just gave me a little nod. If you don't look blatantly like a complete tourist, they're not going to say anything. They don't really care. As I said, regular Cubans just pass through the cemetery on their way to work to get from one side to the other. If you do look like a tourist, though, I'm going to show you the other door. And this is the back door of the cemetery. It's near the corner of Colon and 10th Street, near 35th Street. So between 10 and 35. On Colon. It's not guarded. It's just a service entrance. And in the last 2 minutes, I've seen like 20 people just walk through it. This is like anything in Cuba. I mean, if you abuse it, if tourists start streaming in through the back door, of course, they're going to place a guard there. But right now, there's nobody there. Nobody really cares. I got into the cemetery several times through this way. I've also paid the admission a few times. But as I said again, it's Cuba, so nobody really cares. Nobody's that adamant about checking up on things. The cemetery is not that well maintained, as you see from the trees growing out of every nook and cranny. But it's still a nice place to visit if you're interested in architecture or like seeing these kind of things. And there you go, you got some information on how to get in there free if you want to. So here we're checking out another angle of the cemetery. I want to just mention quickly, there are a lot of scams that happen in this cemetery, actually, surprisingly enough. Locals will just hang out, they'll get nicely dressed and they'll hang out beside graves or whatever, and if you take a picture, they'll approach you and say, listen, you got to pay $1 to take a picture of this particular tomb or something. The $1 goes towards restoring the tomb. It's only $1, you got to pay it. That's a scam. There are no other supplemental fees once you're in the cemetery. If a guard or anything gives you trouble for any reason, just go back to the front admissions office and sort it out with the admissions office. Never just pay a guard or somebody pretending to be a guard any money. Sometimes they'll be locals, always nicely dressed, always very courteous. They'll meet you near the entrance to the cemetery and say, listen, it's $5 to get in. They'll look professional, as if they're the ones taking the, as if they're the ones at the admissions office. Never pay them because they're not at the admissions office. They're just trying to glean an extra $5. Always pay your money directly at the admissions office if you're going to pay it at all. Nobody else is registered or authorized to take money other than the admissions office. And there are no additional fees for taking pictures of any particular tombs or for walking in any general areas. Check out my guide for lots more information like this. The link is just below. Check out my website for tips, tricks, videos and images. Also, you can download a free Havana tips and tricks guide, absolutely free. It'll give you some great tips on how to experience Havana like a local.